Hi, guess who? I've seen the team's expectations for the race, so I thought I'd pass them on and wish you luck. Take care.
Hi guys, CombinedYoutuber. Welcome to the F1 2016 crew mode today, and we'll be doing the Australian Grand Prix, and we're going to do the race. So here are the race goals. So our agent has told us that we're going to finish in 12th. You have to finish in 12th place or higher and beat Romain Grosjean. And the Drivers' Championship target is 15th or higher. So we qualified 8th for the Australian Grand Prix, and this is the race. So let's hope it's a good one, because I've been so excited for this race for the whole time. So 488 resource points at the moment. We're not going to upgrade anything before the race, unless we want to upgrade another part of fuel efficiency, which I don't think I should do, to be honest. But I qualified in 8th, and let's hope this is good. Let's go to the race for the Australian Grand Prix.
They say that even a second is an eternity in Formula One, so going 4 winter months with no racing at all has seemed a very long time indeed. We're back though in Melbourne, home of the Australian Grand Prix since 1996. We go racing today then in the state of Victoria, where the drivers have 16 corners and 3.3 miles to navigate at an average lap speed of around 120 miles an hour. The close proximity of the barriers makes accidents inevitable, and recent history shows us that a safety car is not at all out of the question. I'm joined today in the commentary box, as I will be throughout this season, by a great racing driver, a former F1 competitor, a man who was world champion once upon a time as well, and an all-round top chap. It's the one and only Anthony Davidson. And tell me, here we are, first Grand Prix of the season, the first time racing these cars. So what are the big questions that need to be answered here, in your view?
First of all, Crofty, and thanks for the glowing introduction, I just want to say it's a real privilege to be here, and I can't wait to see what this competitive field has in store for us this season. Now, to answer your question, obviously there's the question of performance in race trim, but really this is going to be all about reliability. It's the first Grand Prix of the season, don't forget. You're pushing all your new components to their limits. Formula One cars are full of very sophisticated but also very sensitive technology. So the most important thing today is to get to the end of the race, keep everything in good condition and try to stay out of trouble while you're at it.
Okay, I know it's your home Grand Prix, but treat it like any other race. Don't take unnecessary risks.
So before the off, let's remind ourselves of yesterday's qualifying session with a look at the starting grid. Nico Rosberg will start his silver arrow from pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Ricciardo, Kimi Raikkonen and Verstappen, Bottas and a Haas, Perez and Fernando Alonso, Button, Sainz, Daniel Kvyat and Hülkenberg, Grosjean, Massa, Kevin Magnussen and Pascal Wehrlein, Ericsson and Harry Anto, Felipe Nasser and Jolyon Palmer rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
So here we are on the grid in Melbourne, Australia, for the first race of the F1 2016 crew mode. This is going to be hopefully a good race. Our selected strategy is the strategy I was always going to go on, with a super soft run for the first stint and a soft run for the second stint of the race. So it's a one-stop strategy. Makes sense for a 25% race. And here we go. This is going to be an interesting race, hopefully. So this is the formation lap now for this Grand Prix. So for the first time you'll see me doing a formation lap, unless you saw the quick race career. This is the first time you'll see me doing a formation. So here we are on the formation lap, starting. This is just preparing, and the formation lap, honestly, it just makes you tense up even more. Just to think about what you're going to do at the start of the race. Think about what you're going to do at the start of the race, and think about where to go and stuff like that, and how to save your tyres. So it makes it more tense. Just to think about what I'm going to do before the start of the race. That's what you're basically doing in a formation lap. But here we are, reforming the grid the race start with the Australian Grand Prix. This is going to be interesting. Starting from 8th place in the top 10, our teammate Roman Grosjean on his way down the field. I think 14th, I believe. So here we are, going onto the grid for the Australian Grand Prix. Here we go. The lights are coming on. The first race of the F1 2016 career mode. And it's away we go for the F1 2016 career mode Season 1. And it's a good start from us there. Going beside Valtteri Bottas, coming down towards Turn 1. Can we get Bottas into Turn 1? Yes, we can. We can get Bottas into Turn 1, but now he's coming back at us on the inside. Side by side with him down to the corner, and Bottas gets us back there, so that's some nice stuff. But now coming into Turn 3, breaking down into second gear, and up the inside of Valtteri Bottas now, coming into this corner. On board with Bottas now, coming into Turn 4. And there is contact there, and Bottas has spun round. So the first race of the season, then there's already a crash at the start of the race. Valtteri Bottas has spun round at the Turn 4. Inflicted by me, but still. There's an incident not even halfway through the first lap, and there's already an incident. But now coming up the inside into Turn 9 on Max Verstappen, and we get the move done into 6th place. A good start to the race so far, 2 positions gained. And now coming into Turn 11, and now moving on to lap 2 of the Australian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen's all over the back of us now. Coming down this corner, he's looking to the inside of us, but he doesn't quite go. He doesn't want to go for the move there into Turn 11, because Turn 11 for an overtaking place is just no. I'm not sure it's possible to even overtake there. But now coming into Turn 13, Verstappen's still behind us now, and here's a replay of the start of the race. It was an interesting start. We had Rosberg on pole, of course, from Hamilton and Vettel. Ricciardo was ahead of Verstappen. And here we go, away we go. You can see me beside Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas there into Turn 1. And here we go. Sorry. Coming onto the straight now, this is where Valtteri Bottas has his incident. Coming up the inside of him now. We try to avoid the Red Bull there, Verstappen on the inside. And here it is, wheel to wheel, and Bottas just gets spun around there at Turn 4. And then, wow, that was a battle there between, I think that was 2nd place there. And now coming into Turn 6, where I'll show also where I passed Verstappen. So, here we go, coming onto the straight. Hamilton led the race, from Vettel, then Rosberg, then Ricciardo, Raikkonen, and then I went up the inside of Verstappen there, into Turn 9. You saw that from the onboard. And now moving on to lap 3 of the Australian Grand Prix. Verstappen's still right behind us now, coming down into Turn 11. He's going to actually come to the inside this time, coming down into Turn 11. He's going to get the move done. Yes, he is! Max Verstappen gets the move done. Dutchman, very aggressive at the start of this race. And what a move that was from Max Verstappen. That was a decent move there. Now, here's the replay of it. He comes on the inside. Ooh, almost pushes us into the wall. And there was an absolute train there. I don't know how many cars, but Verstappen's not going to pull away from us. And now we got really bad traction out of the corner, and Sergio Perez in the Force India is going to come into the inside of us, coming down into Turn 1. We're going to side by side into Turn 1. Perez goes on the inside and gets the move done. Sergio Perez gets a great move into Turn 1. The AI are really good in this game in terms of overtaking. But now, here is Sergio Perez side by side with us. We tried to hold it around the outside, but Perez held it in there and got the place. I think he moved up into 6th position. No, 7th position. Because Max Verstappen is in 6th position. Now coming on to Turn 11 and 12, on lap 5 of the Australian Grand Prix. Coming into Turn 13. Here we go, up the inside of Sergio Perez into Turn 13. Just about hold it onto the track, and we're going to 7th place once again on Sergio Perez. That's a good move from us there. And this is a decent race so far. Decent race. It's a good race in terms of action so far. But now coming into the pit lane for our first pit stop of this Australian Grand Prix. We're going to brake for the pit lane down to 60 kilometers an hour. And we're going to go all the way to the end of the pit lane for Haas. And here we go, coming into our pit box now. It's changing onto the soft tyres And that was a 3.3 second stop, so that's quite slow to be honest, from our team in the first pit stop of the season. And now, coming out of the pits, obviously in last place because we'll pass by everyone in the pit lane because we were the only one to stop at that lap. So I'm going for a little undercut on the AI here. So this is an interesting race so far. I was so excited for this career mode to start, and now it started. But now, moving up positions at the pit lane, we got ahead of Hulkenberg there. We're in 16th place. Behind Felipe Nasser, who is not that far ahead, I assume. But we're in P16 at the moment, on lap 7 of this Grand Prix. This first race of the season. And now coming onto the final quarter once again to find out more cars that are pitting. Here we go, coming onto the straight now. Where are we going to get out ahead of... is that Perez and Button coming down the straight? Yes, Button and Perez are coming out of the pits now. Can we get out ahead of one of them? Yes, coming around the outside and we get ahead of Jensen Button out of the pit lane. We get ahead of Button. That was a great pass there. We just about got out ahead of Button, and we are in effectively 7th place still, 8th place still, in this Australian Grand Prix in P11. Now we're all over the back of Sergio Perez, now coming down into this corner. Can we get Perez into the next corner at turn 9? Here we go, up the inside of Sergio Perez. We've really overshot the corner there, so he's going to get us back. Sergio Perez there, and he gets back into the points once again. And Jensen Button's are going to try and challenge us, but I don't think he will. Yeah, he's tried to, but doesn't quite get the move there. We're coming into turn 11 and 12. And now into the final corner now with DRS open. Sergio Perez coming onto the straight now with DRS open. Slipstreaming Sergio Perez down into turn 1. Can we get the move done? Coming on to the inside of Sergio Perez into turn 1. And we get the move done on him into turn 1. That's a good move there. And we move up into 10th place. We've got a Renault ahead of Jolyon Palmer. Actually in 8th place now. We've got a Renault of Jolyon Palmer ahead of us. We should be able to pass him quickly because that Renault isn't stopped yet. So, here we go. We're all over the back of him now. Coming down into the last few corners. Now coming into the penultimate corner. And we're going to go for a move there. Yes, we are. We're going to go up the inside of Palmer. And we're going to get the move done into 7th place. So 7th is our position at the moment in this Grand Prix. And moving on to lap 11 of the Australian Grand Prix. Verstappen is 11 seconds ahead of us, but that's less important than Perez being 6/10 behind us. And we have DRS open because I think someone in the pits we had DRS protection on. And coming into turn 9 now, we have Sergio Perez all over the back of our rear wing coming down to this corner. Is he going to do what Verstappen did into turn 11? He is as well, coming into the inside. Sergio Perez coming into turn 11. Is he going to get the move done here? We're going to try and hold it around the outside, and there's contact there! Perez has spun, and we have gone into the wall, lost half of our front wing. And that is a real shame to end this race. Here is a replay of the incident. We were side by side. I tried to hold around the outside, and Perez goes for a spin, and I go into the wall. That was an unbelievable incident there. And here is team radio. Perez just crashed into me. I'm sorry, guys. So I'm not happy about Sergio Perez there, clearly, but I believe that was my fault, to be honest. But as you saw from Perez's point of view, I completely left him no room. So I believe that was my fault. I don't know how I didn't get a warning for it, but it was my fault. Now coming into the pits now to replace our front wing, and this has not turned into a good race anymore. It was a decent race, but now this crash has happened. We are not going to do well in this race. And also, I forgot to mention we had a virtual safety car for that incident, so not a real safety car, but it's a virtual safety car where the race is neutralized, and you go at you stay in the same gaps as the car ahead. You do not overtake, of course, and you stay in a positive delta. Now, as I was talking about, the virtual safety car ends as I come out of the pit lane. So we're in 18th place at the moment. with 4 laps to go in this Grand Prix. 3 laps to go in this Grand Prix. Which is quite worrying, to be honest. We're not going to finish in the points in our first Grand Prix. Now coming into turn 1 on lap 13 of this Grand Prix, understeering, and there's a yellow flag ahead as Sergio Perez, a double whammy for him there. He is now out of the race. He's got 2 Toro Rossos ahead, so he's either going to have an engine failure or he's going to crash into them. He hasn't got an engine failure there for Sergio Perez. A double negative for him there. He crashes with me, and now he retires on 2 laps later. That is unbelievable. But now, catching up to the Manners, and we're going up the inside of Rio Haryanto into the penultimate corner. We get them done there into 16th, and now we're getting Pascal Wehrlein ahead of us. Quickly coming down into this corner. Lap 14 of the Grand Prix, the penultimate lap. We set a 1:31.8, so that's a race time. First corner now. We're going to go up. We're all over the back of Pascal Wehrlein, coming into turn 9 now. Ooh, very close to the back of him now. Coming into this corner, we're going to slipstream him down into turn 11 now. What are we going to do with Pascal Wehrlein? We're going to go to the inside, into turn 11. Are we going to get him? Yes, we are. On the inside, into the far chicane at turn 11. And we get Pascal Wehrlein into 15th position. So, I think we're going to stay here, to be honest. But now, Wehrlein's actually coming back at me there. Now, that's interesting. A Manor trying to come back at me. Wehrlein being very cheeky there. But now, coming into the penultimate corner, and we are actually catching up to the Toro Rossos, who are actually finding a way. Sainz and Kvyat. Let's hope we can get them. Did get up to 13th, but on the last lap, Lewis Hamilton wins the first Grand Prix of the F1 2016 career mode. But now we're going to go DRS onto the final corner. Are we going to get one of the Toro Rossos over the line? No, we aren't. We're going to finish in a disappointing 15th place in the Australian Grand Prix.
Bad luck. It just wasn't our day today.
What a shame it was. We were in a really good position in 7th place. And we unfortunately got bad luck with the crash there with Sergio Perez. So Hamilton won the Grand Prix ahead of Rosberg, and then Daniel Ricciardo finishes 3rd to be the first Australian to go on the podium in Australia. It's pretty good. But as Hamilton sprays the champagne, he takes the first race of the season in the F1 2016 career mode. So Lewis Hamilton wins the Australian Grand Prix by 8 seconds from Nico Rosberg, then Daniel Ricciardo in 3rd, then Kimi Raikkonen, Max Verstappen in 5th, Sebastian Vettel in 6th, Valtteri Bottas, who got spun at the first lap, is 7th, ahead of Jenson Button, Nico Hulkenberg, Felipe Massa, Fernando Alonso, Romain Grosjean, Carlos Sainz, Daniel Kvyat, then me in 15th, Pascal Wehrlein, Rio Haryanto, Jolyon Palmer, Marcus Ericsson, Kevin Magnussen, Felipe Nasser, and Sergio Perez, DNFs in the race.
First round of the World Championship. Here's how things look in the drivers' table. Lewis Hamilton takes over the lead of the drivers' championship after an excellent result. Now then, Anthony Davidson, who was your driver of the day?
Well, it's got to be Felipe Massa, hasn't it? He fought so hard and had incredible pace at times. I don't think anyone did a better job today.
And now let's take a look at the constructors' standings. Mercedes moves to the top of the table. That's it for today's Grand Prix, and from Ant and I, it's goodbye and see you again next time.
So Felipe Massa has been given the driver of the day. As the driver's standings, we have the constructor standings. Mercedes lead by 18 points for Red Bull, then Ferrari, Williams, McLaren, Honda in 5th, Force India, Toro Rosso, Sauber, Manor, Renault, and Haas at the back of the constructor standings in this first race of the season. So quite disappointing. We need to do better in the next race in Bahrain. The driver standings, we didn't even need to look at those because obviously it's the first race of the season. So here are our resource points after this race. We obviously didn't get much because of our position. So 82 resource points. We got less resource points than qualifying. Wow. So this might have some Grosjean advantages here. Of course, we've got the fastest third sector, and I was surprised about that. I was surprised that I beat him there a lot of times. This is not going to be good for our driver position yet. We're -1 there for not finishing 12th, and for not beating Romain Grosjean. We lose 2 places in our driver position. If we go into the red, we're in risk of getting fired, so we need to do better in Bahrain. For our career score, We did a practice session, we did a qualifying, we did a race. We had flashbacks in there, but I don't want to there. We had a penalty-free weekend, a team modifier, and we got a total of 7,000 resource points, I think. Career score, sorry. I don't care, to be honest, but hope you enjoyed the first race of the season. It was a disappointing result in the end, but hope you enjoyed the Australian Grand Prix. See you guys on my next video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and goodbye.